Evening Facebook, how we doing? So I am in a hotel room in London at the moment. Please excuse the bed, I'm watching telly. So tonight I just wanted to do a quick video all about sourcing compliance really quickly. So I'm in London tonight with Tina Walsh. And the reason that we're in London tonight is because tomorrow we are training our training course that we train for Property Mark and Arla. So for those of you that don't know, basically it's one of the residential landlords associations. They're one of the regulatory bodies to the lettings industry, and Tina Walsh and myself are the only two sourcing agents in the UK that are allowed to train under the Arla Property Mark banner. So we come to London to deliver a training course to Arla members under the Property Mark banner, and we are here tonight doing that. Now, obviously we've had loads of conversations tonight about everything that we're going to be delivering tomorrow to Arla members and Property Mark members, and I thought I might as well do my little Facebook Live about it tonight so that it's kind of on theme. So I really just wanted to start with the reason why it's important to do things the right way. Okay, so, and this counts for both investors. So if you're in this group and you are somebody who is buying deals from sources, one of the things that often happens, and this happens to me a lot, where I start working with an investor who hasn't worked with me before, who is used to the less than compliant, shall we say, the people that are not necessarily doing it in the right way or are not set up in the right way. They're used to those people not asking them to sign terms and conditions, not asking them to sign an NDA, not asking them to send their ID, not being compliant with anti-money laundering regulations, not being compliant with all the other checks, insurances and bits and pieces. What that creates, when you've got sources that are not acting compliantly, what that creates in the investors' world is they don't understand why companies like me and the guys that I train and people like Tina, the people that I work with, why we ask for you to sign terms before we'll send you out any deals, why we ask you for your proof of address, proof of name, proof of date of birth, proof of funds, legitimate evidence of where those funds came from. Actually those key things are absolutely required by law. As an agent, we have to ask for those things. If we're not asking for those things from you as an investor, you should be worried about working with us, okay? So I really wanted to start with that, is that one of the biggest problems we have as sourcing agents is that we get a lot of pushback from investors who say, I don't want to sign your terms. Now, for me, if you're an investor, if you're in fact in any, take it out of property for a second, you wouldn't go and buy a sofa from John Lewis without signing a piece of paper if you were buying it on finance, would you? You'd want to know the terms and conditions that you are agreeing to, when you've got to pay it, when it's going to be delivered, what's the refund policy, what's the cancellation policy, what happens if you take my money and the sofa that arrives is a different colour, what happens? It's exactly the same scenario with us. Yeah, so if you're an investor buying deals from an agent, whether it's me or anybody else, if that agent doesn't ask you to sign some sort of sourcing agreement where you define the agreement between you and them, how do you think that you are going to be protected if it goes wrong? If they deliver you a deal that makes no profit and they're not a member of the Ombudsman, how are you going to escalate that? How are you going to get your money back? You're not. If they have not got the right insurance in place, as an investor, how are you going to get your money back? You're not. It's so important as an investor that you understand that when sourcing agents are asking you to do things the right way, we're doing it because we've got your best interests at heart, and we're doing it because that's what the law says we have to do. So starting with investors, when you start working with people who are the best in the industry, there's not a lot of them. I am a compliance source. I'm not saying I'm the best in the industry, but there are maybe, I could probably name 20 or so people that I know 100%, and I'm not talking students of mine, I'm talking actual sources who do a really great job. Tina's one of them, there's a few others. If you're not working with one of those people and they're not asking you to sign terms before they're sending you out to see deals or asking you for money, then you're probably working with somebody that's not compliant, in which case you should be worried about where your money is and how it's protected. As an aside to that, if you are a sourcing agent and you are not asking for a sourcing agreement to be signed, then your deal is not protected. Yeah, so that investor basically can go around you, can cut you out of the loop, to that agent, direct to that vendor, and agree a sale where you never get paid. It's very possible to circumvent you if you do not have a sourcing agreement in place. Why on earth would you trade like that? If you were John Lewis, you wouldn't just let someone walk out the shop without signing terms of how they're going to pay for something, would you? It's exactly the same, okay? You wouldn't let somebody drive a car off the car forecourt if you were a car salesman without them signing a piece of paper to say, this is when you're going to pay for it, this is how I expect to be paid, this is when I expect to be paid. If the car breaks down halfway up the road, this is how I'm going to give you your money back. It's the same thing. If you're a sourcing agent, for you to protect your deal, you have to make sure that you've got a sourcing agreement signed. Otherwise, no one knows what, how, or where the relationship is. Nobody knows what or how things are protected. Now, on top of that, there are key things that you, as an agent, have legally. If you're going to be involved, if you're going to be considered as an estate agency type business, which is what we are agents negotiating the buying and selling of real estate. Okay, so that is the type of business we run. Therefore, we are an agent in the eyes of the law. What that means is we have to act in the same rules as an agent. So we have to be a member of the Ombudsman or one of the redress schemes. I'm TPO, which is the Property Ombudsman. There is also PRS, which is the Property Redress Scheme. You have to be a member of that. If you're an investor and you're working with an agent and you ask them to see their TPO number and they don't know what that is, maybe you shouldn't work with those agents because they're probably not compliant. If you're an agent and you're trading deals right now and you don't know what the TPO is or what PRS is, you probably need to learn pretty sharpish, because if you're caught trading illegally, not only are the fines huge, but the biggest risk if you're not trading compliantly is that you could be chucked in jail for supporting money laundering, for serious crime. So, this stuff is really, really important, and we don't talk about it enough. There's a lot of people in the industry that are trading outside of these rules, and it's really frustrating for the people who are doing it right, because yes, our fees are higher, because our overheads are higher, because the cost to run our business is higher, because we're doing it in the right way. But at the same time, investors who are not agreeing to sign terms because they don't want to sign a piece of paper to agree terms before they see a deal, you're also not helping. Investors really need to make sure they're protecting their money, and agents, you need to make sure that you're protecting your business. And if everybody does that, we will all be able to work very, very happily and all will be well. So me and Tina have been talking about this for about 6 hours today. Nerds alert. We've also had a couple of cocktails, which has always been lovely over lunch and dinner this evening. But I really wanted to share that with you guys because, we're in London today. We're talking about compliance. I'm training for Arla and Property Mark tomorrow. And so I thought actually it was really on point and on theme to share my opinion on, it's not even my opinion, it's the facts. You have to be compliant. It's really that simple. If you're not sure about this stuff or you've got any questions about this stuff, there's a couple of things you can do. Drop me a message and I will let you know where you can come and see Tina and I, and we do collective training together. We've got a course in April that we're doing together, so you can always come to that. Or if you've just got a couple of really simple questions you want to kind of clarify anything, just drop me a message or put in the comments on here and I will answer it for you. Have a lovely evening. I'm going to go to bed now, get an early night, ready for Arla training in the morning. I will catch up with you guys tomorrow. See you later. Bye.